para prohibir el proxenetismo en todas sus formas.
An age-old debate on one of the world's oldest professions. Spain, also known as the brothel of Europe, is now tackling the question of whether to abolish prostitution.
The goals are clear: to criminally prosecute pimping, to punish clients of prostitution and protect the victims of prostitution.
A crackdown on brothels, penalties on men paying for sex, and longer sentences on pimping. These are the key measures in the draft legislation. For the opposition, this proposed bill bundles together very different issues: human trafficking and prostitution.
Of course, we are aware that there is a significant percentage of sex workers who are forced to do so and perform work in inhumane conditions and are victims of trafficking. But they're only one part of sex workers, not all of them.
Sex workers themselves support this argument. They believe abolition is not protection, quite the opposite. They feel this law would infantilize them and victimize them.
What they are really looking to do is penalize our environment, which will harm our daily lives. And they are not offering jobs opportunities that are not precarious or feminized. So we are in the same situation.
While some argue this bill is a step in the right direction, others call for legalization. They say criminalization and abolition will simply send sex workers further underground, leaving them more vulnerable to trafficking networks.
Now, in previous videos, we have been discussing censorship, the war on adult entertainment, pornography, anime, manga, and many other things that have been going on throughout the world. We've discussed also some do's and don'ts when you're abroad in places like Bali, where you have to be careful, especially what type of bathing suit you're wearing, and if you're planning to do photography on it, or if you're doing nude photos and stuff like that. As beautiful as the country Indonesia is, they have laws, and you can end up to be several years in jail. You know, we've discussed that, you know, if you do something wrong there, you know, don't expect the United States to come running to save you. You know, learning this from Brittany Griner of the WNBA, who just recently pleaded guilty to drug smuggling, which not really smuggling, it's just that basically she had CBD oil in her bag because she vapes, and now she could end up 10 years in jail. And is the government helping? Not really. They're not pushing to get her out under this administration. But, you know, we've also discussed how Spain really, they just really are diving into just banning anything of adult content in their country. And they're moving forward with more legislation. According to XBiz, Spanish legislators moved forward with proposal to recriminalize all sex work. Spain Congress of Deputies moved forward Tuesday with the proposal, new laws backed by the ruling party aiming to prohibit pimping in all its forms, with a final aim to abolish prostitution. As XBiz reported, the bill introduced May 19th aims to outlaw all sex work, including all sexual performance deemed to be pornographic. The legislation moved forward this week with 232 votes in favor, 38 against, and 69 absentees. The ruling Spanish Socialist Worker Party, or PSOE, introduced the proposal as an abolished law against sexual exploitation, something that has been included in the party's platform. The draft includes Section 187, which explicitly outlaws all audio visual productions, magazines, internet content deemed pornographic. Now, understand, and I said this before, okay? Understand this, and I'll read this again. The draft includes Section 187, which explicitly outlaws audiovisual productions, magazines, or internet content deemed pornographic. Understand, what do they deem pornographic? Sports Illustrated could be, the swimsuit issue could be deemed pornographic. Some of the men's magazines, some of the R-rated movies, stuff like Body Heat, Body Double, a bunch of the Brian De Palma movies, a lot of the R-rated love movies that, you know, that have sex scenes in it. They could deem that pornographic. This is the scary part of this situation. And I know a lot of people out there, especially on my BitChute site, that have commented greatly, and I know those of you who have commented are very religious in the notion. Note, you may not like pornography. You may be against it. It's against your religion to that situation. Understand, you know, there's nothing against that. If you don't, you know, you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. But this is a censorship grab. They start with these words. Content deemed. Okay? Content deemed. Who deems it pornographic? Understand. They could deem anything pornographic even if it's not pornographic. They could say, hey, forget, you know, out of crazy say, an old 1950s, 60s, one of those Annette Funicello, Frankie Avalon movies, because they're all in bikinis. They could say, that's pornographic, you know. As ridiculous as that sounds, this law is ridiculous in its writings, because basically if someone doesn't like it in the government saying, well, I don't like that particular movie, I don't like that particular magazine, I find that offensive. And that's going to go for anime too, and manga. You don't think they're going to stop with porn. They're going to go right into anime and manga that has nude scenes in it, that has, you know, a lot of upskirts, that, you know, that has fan service in it. All of that is going to be banned out of Spain. And considering that that the Spanish world, not only Spain, South America, all that, are a big watcher of anime and manga. Think about that for a minute. How many people are going to be put out? This is not only porn that they're trying to push. This is censorship. This is complete physical communistic censorship. They start at the level that they say, oh, it's criminalized. You got pimps and stuff like that, you know, all that. They're going to ban drag shows. They're going to ban dance shows where girls were wearing like a Las Vegas type outfit. You know, there are places in Spain that have sexy shows and stuff like that that are not well liked. Those will be banned that are non-pornographic. Paintings. Think about that. Paintings. Classical artist paintings and statuettes that are in museums will be banned as well. You know, you're thinking, well, I'm going crazy and going forward. No, it's not. This is how it starts. This is how it starts. Prominent European feminist adult industry figures like Erica Lust and Pauletta Papel expressed dismay about the PSOE attack on all forms of sex work. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has actively campaigned in the abolishment of prostitution, including during the most recent PSOE convention in Valencia last October. Other prominent politicians within the PSOE, which took power in 2019 after several years of conservative rule under the Partido Popular, have taken up the abolishment of sex work as their personal cause. These include the party's General Vice Secretary, Adriana Lastral, who last month took to the press to promote the change in the Spanish Penal Code to mandate up to 3 years of jail time for anyone paying for sex. You have to remember one thing. They had it legalized at one point. They had the control. Now they want to get rid of the control. So what happens? What do you think is going to happen? You know, the pimp, you're going to get the really bad people that they had gotten rid of when they legalized it are now going to come back into the fold.
My bitch better have my money. Through rain, sleet, or snow.
You know, you're going to have the mob. You're going to have all this, there are many women who work in the business that do their own work, that they're literally their own pimp. In other words, they don't have anyone they answer to. They make money, it's like strippers. You got college girls who are stripping, they make their money, they pay their bills, and that's it. It's a profession. This has been around for many, many decades. I'm surprised we haven't legalized it in this country completely. Vegas in one section has it legalized and under control. These are the situations that happen. They rather legalize marijuana than to legalize prostitution, knowing that is a business, whereas, pushing something that is not really making money for the states. California doesn't really make that much off of this, as you think it's billions of dollars. Where's all that money going to? You have to ask that situation. We must abolish prostitution because it's incomparable with human rights, added the spokesperson for the PSOE Equality Commission, Laura Benjar. Lastra framed the effort as an attempt to reach out to the right, saying that she hoped both the conservative PP and the left-wing minority alliances, Unidas Podemos, would vote for it. The proposed legislation will revive crimes of proximos necesitamos, or meaning pimping or pandering, y la terciral loctividad brothel keeping. In other words,
Texas has a whorehouse in it.
Both were removed from the penal code in 1995 by a previous PSOE administration. The language in the bill exclusively uses Spanish feminine prostituta, which is both stigmatizing and criminal. Now, here, before I go any further, you notice that they say the feminal. There are male prostitutes as well. You notice that these bills, they say it's for the woman and stuff like that. They don't talk about the men who are in this business, and because there are men in the prostitution business as well, and criminalizing and also essential sex work as a female occupation. The law also conflates legal minors with much vaguer persons in situation of vulnerability, which could be deployed by authorities to apply whoever they wish. See, now here they're going to bring in next the child pornography, the child prostitution. Most of these countries haven't done enough with the trafficking trade. In the United Nations, who do you have who's handling the, as far as these councils in the United Nations? The worst offenders of the business, in the business, Russia, China, North Korea, and several other countries that are the worst offenders in this business. As far as when you hear child pornography, child abductions, basically children being used as prostitution, these are the worst of the country. And that's why nothing has gotten done. That's exactly why nothing has gotten done. Although the introduction of the law claims that relatives of the sex worker will not be prosecuted, Lopez Trillo noted on Twitter, the legal defines as drafted says nothing about it. See, the thing about it is, they won't go after them now. They'll go after them later. If anyone lives off the income of a person in a situation of prostitution, it is understood that there may be a profit motive. Yeah, you want to live. You're paying your rent. You're paying for your food. She explained, adding that if such a third party knows about what kind of work the person does, it could be interpreted that they are enabling or promoting. I mean, how stupid that is. You're trying to survive. If you're stripping, if you're making money off of it, that's your business. That is your business on there. Now you have these situations where they want to ban this. But this is not the only thing. And as I said before, prostitution, pornogaphy is just the basis of the legality they're going to use against everything else. Lopez Trillo, in an article for news site, provided an in-depth analysis of the issues which the law, which establishes a soup up version of the Nordic model and goes against the wishes of the most active sex workers and sex work advocacy groups, which were not consulted by the PSOE's anti-sex work activists. A central issue with the law is an interpretation of Tradicional Localidad, which establishes criminal liability for any third-party location that state would consider is functioning as a brothel. Lupes Trujillo spoke with Miren Otobe, law professor at the Universidad de Paris Vassio, who pointed out that when a type of crime is so broad, you dilute the legal certainty and leave the enforcement to the ideology basis of those doing the judging, particularly racism and classism. If it is a cop who's taking advantage somehow of the woman prostituting herself, Otobe, a criminologist and penalist, explained the judge will not likely consider him a pimp. But if it's a foreigner, the basis will increase and the possibility will be considered a pimp, even if the behavior is the same. See, this is the thing that you have to worry, is who are they going to arrest? Who are they going to put into the prisons? Who are they going to send away? Money funnels into their pockets. And it's always a situation of this nature. They want to control everything in that country, whether it's what you're eating, your entertainment, your medical, what you're making in your pocket, how are you earning. They're going to tell you, we're going to tell you what you make. You don't own everything. We've been hearing this. This is happening in the Netherlands right now. You're hearing the stories in the Netherlands right now, the food crisis that's going on, the farmers and all that the government is literally taking over in there. That the policies that they're trying to promote on there are just blatant dictatorship, communist. Throw all the words you can in the word soup, and this is what you got. And as I said before, and I know you guys are commenting, it says it's good to get rid of the porn and the prostitution. But that's where they're starting. They start in one direction and move straight across. This law also includes anime and manga. Trust me on this. They're going to go after them this way with this law. Movies that are made here and across that has nudity in it, sex in it, they will ban them. This is people that are in right now in the government in Spain are just Puritans. They just want to eliminate all of this. This is the thought process. This is the fear we have in this country. You don't think that they're thinking about this? They are. They have put some implements up and running. You don't hear about it because the mainstream media is involved. This has been happening for quite some time now. And we have some stories coming up from this end of the world that tells about that, of what's going on. The censorship hidden in laws that they say it's going to protect you. They're not protecting you. They're taking away your rights. So comment freely below, subscribe, like, share. We will see you on the next one. Thank you for tuning in, and bye-bye now.
Don't touch that dial. This is Melvin P. Thorpe saying I'll be back with new and revealing information about this and other cases. Watchdog never sleeps.